Welcome, dear listener, to a space of profound understanding where we explore the essence of connection with others. In our lives, the ability to truly connect with them, our friends, our family, our colleagues, and even strangers we meet, is both an art and a science. It is a dance of energy, empathy, and understanding that, when mastered, can transform the way we interact with the world. Let's begin by considering the foundation of all human connections: presence. To form genuine connections, we must be fully present, not just physically, but with every fiber of our being. When was the last time you engaged with someone and felt completely seen, heard, and understood? That level of attentiveness is rare, isn't it? Yet, it is exactly what we all seek. Presence means clearing your mind of distractions and focusing entirely on the interaction at hand. It's turning off the inner monologue that plans your next sentence and instead tuning in to the nuances of the conversation. Listen to the tone of their voice, observe their body language, and feel the energy they emit. When you are present, you create a space that invites openness and authenticity. Now let's talk about empathy, the emotional bridge that connects us to another's experience. Empathy is not just about understanding someone's feelings. It's about stepping into their shoes and viewing the world from their perspective. Have you ever shared your troubles with someone and realized they genuinely felt your pain? That shared emotional experience is the essence of empathy. To cultivate empathy, we must let go of judgment. It's not about agreeing or disagreeing with their perspective. It's about acknowledging their right to feel the way they do. It's recognizing the universal emotions we all experience: joy, fear, frustration, and hope. When you empathize, you connect on a fundamental human level, and that is where true understanding begins. Another crucial aspect of connecting with others is vulnerability. It's the courage to show up as you are, without masks or pretenses. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, but in truth, it is one of our greatest strengths. It is the doorway to deeper connection because it signals to the other person that it's safe to be real with you. Think about a time when someone shared something personal with you, something they might not have told many people. How did that make you feel? Chances are it brought you closer because it demonstrated trust. Vulnerability fosters trust, and trust is the bedrock of all meaningful relationships. However, vulnerability is not about oversharing or using personal stories to elicit a certain reaction. It's about genuine sharing that arises from a place of authenticity. It's about being honest with your feelings and allowing others to see your true self. Now, let's shift our focus to the language of connection: curiosity. Curiosity is the spark that ignites conversation and the fuel that keeps it burning. When you approach interactions with a sense of curiosity, you signal to the other person that you find them interesting and worth your time. But what does it mean to be genuinely curious? It means asking questions that go beyond the superficial. It's exploring their thoughts, feelings, and experiences without any agenda. When you're curious, you're not seeking to respond, you're seeking to understand. Consider this. How often do you engage in conversations waiting for your turn to speak? We all do it, but when we're curious, we shift from waiting to speak to being eager to listen. And in that shift, we open the door to meaningful connections. Practical advice for fostering curiosity starts with the questions you ask. Instead of asking yes or no questions, ask open-ended ones that encourage a more detailed response. For example, instead of asking, "Did you have a good day?" you might ask, "What was something that stood out to you today?" This small change can make a significant difference in the depth of your conversations. Now, as we wrap up this first part of our exploration, Let's consider a question that cuts to the core of our topic. What is it that you seek in your connections with others? Is it understanding, validation, support, or something else entirely? Unveiling the dance of authenticity and boundaries in human connection. As we seek to connect with others, authenticity serves as our guiding star. Authenticity is the genuine expression of our inner self, our values, and our beliefs. It's the courage to be who you are, regardless of the expectations of others. But how does one remain authentic in a world that often rewards conformity? It begins with self-awareness, understanding who you are at your core and what you stand for. This inner clarity allows you to engage with others from a place of confidence and sincerity. When you are authentic, you invite others to meet you at that same level of truthfulness. However, authenticity without boundaries can lead to emotional exhaustion. Boundaries are the protective circles we draw around our energy, time, and emotions. They are not walls that keep people out, but rather guidelines that help us interact with respect and mutual understanding. One of the most profound acts of self-care is setting and honoring your boundaries. It tells others what is okay and what is not, what you are willing to give, and what you expect in return. When you set boundaries, you preserve your energy and prevent resentment from seeping into your relationships. But how do you establish healthy boundaries? It starts with self-respect and the belief that you have the right to prioritize your well-being. Communicate your boundaries clearly and calmly, without apology. Remember, setting boundaries is not a one-time event but an ongoing process of negotiation and respect. Now, let's consider the role that active listening plays in connecting with others. Active listening is the act of listening with the intent to understand, not just to reply. It's giving your undivided attention to the speaker and signaling through your body language and responses that you are fully engaged. Active listening involves more than just hearing words. It's also about picking up on the emotions and intentions behind them. It's about reading between the lines and understanding the subtext of the conversation. When you actively listen, you validate the other person's feelings and perspectives, creating a space where they feel valued. For practical advice, try to listen without formulating a response in your head. This allows you to be more responsive to the direction the conversation is taking. Reflect back what you've heard to ensure you've understood correctly, and ask clarifying questions if you're uncertain. Let's now address the concept of reciprocity in relationships. Reciprocity is the mutual exchange of energy and effort. It's the give and take that balances relationships and ensures that both parties feel appreciated and valued. However, reciprocity should not be transactional. It's not about keeping score, but about the natural flow of giving and receiving. When one person consistently gives more than they receive, the imbalance can lead to feelings of resentment and inequality. To cultivate reciprocity, be attentive to the balance in your relationships. Give generously, but also allow yourself to receive. Sometimes, allowing others to give to you can be just as important as giving to them. It's a cycle of kindness and appreciation that strengthens connections. As we consider the wisdom shared so far, let's reflect on a thought-provoking question. How do your boundaries and authenticity shape the connections you have in your life? Do they serve as bridges or barriers? Harmonizing souls. The symphony of shared emotional resonance. Within the realm of human connection, emotional resonance is akin to an invisible thread that weaves two souls together. It's the feeling you get when your emotions are in sync with someone else's, creating a harmony that is both enriching and profound. This resonance is what allows us to not just understand, but also to feel the emotional climate of another's world. To resonate emotionally with someone, You must be attuned to your own emotions. Self-awareness is the key to understanding others. When you know how you feel, you can better understand how someone else might feel in a similar situation. This doesn't mean you always have to agree, but rather that you can appreciate the emotional journey they are on. Emotional resonance also calls for emotional intelligence, which includes the ability to manage both your emotions and the emotions of others. It's about being able to navigate the emotional waters of a conversation without getting lost at sea. This means not only recognizing when to speak, but also when to offer silence as a form of support. Now consider the significance of shared experiences in building connections. Shared experiences, whether they are moments of joy, periods of struggle, or simply mundane everyday activities, become the fabric of our relationships. They are the stories we tell and retell, the memories we cherish, and the foundation upon which we build trust and intimacy. Creating shared experiences doesn't always require grand gestures. It can be as simple as a walk together in nature, cooking a meal together, or sharing in a moment of laughter. It's the act of being fully present with someone else, creating a memory that bonds you together. For those seeking to deepen connections, actively seek out opportunities to create shared experiences. Invite someone to join you in an activity you both enjoy, or offer to participate in something that's important to them. The investment you make in shared experiences pays dividends in the form of stronger, more resilient relationships. Moreover, let's not overlook the role of compassion in connecting with others. Compassion is the heartfelt desire to alleviate another's suffering. It's recognizing the struggle in another and extending a hand to help. Compassion is the action-oriented cousin of empathy and an essential ingredient in the art of connection. Practicing compassion can start with small acts of kindness. It could be as simple as offering a word of encouragement, showing patience when someone is struggling, or lending an ear to someone who needs to talk. Compassion is a universal language that transcends words and goes straight to the heart. As we reflect on emotional resonance and shared experiences, let's also examine the importance of consistency in relationships. Consistency is what builds trust over time. It's the repeated action of showing up, being reliable, and acting with integrity that tells others you are dependable. In your own life, consider how consistency plays a role in your connections. Do you follow through on your promises? Are you the same person in private as you are in public? Consistency doesn't mean you never change. It means that your core values and behaviors are stable, providing a predictable foundation for others to rely on. Before we move to the final part of our exploration, let's ponder on the idea of shared emotional resonance. How does the dance of your emotions with those of others create a symphony in your relationships? Does this symphony play harmoniously, or are there dissonant notes that need to be addressed? With these thoughts in mind, let us prepare to conclude our journey with the final part, where we will explore the culmination of our efforts to connect deeply with others. The quintessence of connection, cultivating the garden of communal harmony. In this denouement, we recognize that the essence of connection lies in the delicate balance between self and community, between individuality and collectivity. It's within this balance that we find the true garden of communal harmony, a place where relationships flourish, nourished by the shared soil of mutual respect and the sunlight of understanding. The art of vulnerability. At the core of our quintessential garden lies the art of vulnerability. Vulnerability is the courage to show up and be seen, to share your true self with all its imperfections. It's the risk we take in opening our hearts to another, knowing that we could be hurt but believing that the connection is worth it. To cultivate vulnerability, one must embrace the full spectrum of their humanity, acknowledging that to feel is to be alive. It means letting go of the facade of perfection and allowing others to see you as you are, beautifully flawed. Vulnerability is an invitation to others to treat your heart with care and a promise to do the same in return. Intertwining growth and connection. Growth and connection are intertwined, with each one feeding into the other. As we grow, our connections deepen, and as our connections deepen, they spur us on to further growth. Personal growth allows us to bring a more authentic, evolved self to our relationships, while our relationships offer a mirror to reflect on ourselves and the space to expand. In the garden of connection, we must be gardeners who nurture not just the relationships but also the individual growth of those within it. Encourage others to pursue their passions and dreams, and celebrate their successes as if they were your own. By supporting the growth of others, you contribute to a thriving community. Communication, the water of life. Communication in relationships is like water to the garden. It sustains and revitalizes. It is through communication that we express our needs, share our thoughts, and listen to the stories of others. Effective communication requires both clarity and compassion, the ability to articulate your thoughts and feelings, and the sensitivity to receive those of another. To water your garden with communication, practice active listening, express gratitude, and engage in dialogue with an open mind and heart. Be mindful of not just what you say, but also how you say it. The tone, timing, and intent behind your words can be as important as the words themselves. The sustainability of reciprocity. Sustainability in our communal garden of harmony hinges on the principle of reciprocity. A relationship cannot thrive if only one side is doing all the giving or all the taking. Reciprocity ensures that the give and take are balanced, that each person's contributions are valued, and that the energy expended is replenished year. To sustain reciprocity, be attuned to the flow of energy in your relationships. Give without the expectation of immediate return, but also be open to receiving. Recognize the efforts of others, and don't be afraid to gently communicate when the balance feels off. Legacy and connection. Finally, consider the legacy of your connections. What seeds are you planting in the hearts and minds of those you interact with? The true measure of our connections is not just in the joy they bring us in the present, but also in the lasting impact they have on our lives and the lives of others. To build a legacy of connection, live with intentionality. Be the kind of person who leaves others better than you found them, who spreads kindness and understanding. Your legacy is the love you share, the support you give, and the difference you make in the world. As we conclude this journey, reflect on the garden you are cultivating with those around you. Are you tending to the soil with care, watering it with good communication, and ensuring the sustainability of your relationships with reciprocity? Remember, the quintessence of connection is a garden that requires constant care, but the beauty it yields is worth every effort. Now, with these reflections in mind, how will you cultivate your garden of communal harmony?